Now, President Obama has announced that Republican and Democrat congressional leaders have reached an agreement over the debt crisis. The deal will be put to a vote in both houses of Congress later today, and the president told reporters the deal allows borrowing by the U.S. Treasury in exchange for more than $2 trillion in long-term spending cuts.
We're not done yet. I want to urge members of both parties to do the right thing and support this deal with your votes over the next few days. It will allow us to avoid default. It will allow us to pay our bills. It will allow us to start reducing our deficit in a responsible way.
Well, let's speak to our reporter, James Alexander. James, morning. Welcome to Breakfast. What has been agreed exactly?
Well, lots of brinkmanship, lots of grandstanding. They took it to the wire, and then at the 11th hour, finally, an agreement between the president and party leaders on both sides on the outlines of a deal. Lots of detail. The crux is this: an agreement to lift America's self-imposed borrowing limit, what debts the state allows itself to run up, from about $14 trillion to about $16 trillion. Massive figures. This is what the president wanted. In return, the Republicans, his political opponents, have got a commitment to cut government spending. So it's a deal that means both sides can say they've got something of what they wanted.
But the deal still has to be voted on by Congress. Do you think it's likely to be passed?
Well, it's an important proviso, this, because the American Congress is a bit different to our Parliament here. Much more independent spirited, much less likely to simply nod things through, rubber stamp what the executive want. There's a vote later. Party leaders might have agreed, but they've now got to convince their rank and file to get on board. And it's likely there'll be lots of sound and fury, especially on the Republican right, who many feel these cuts don't go far enough. There could still be nervous moments, but most commentators reckon, the consequences of not passing it are so dire, the likelihood is it will go through.
So we've seen some tough cuts happen here in Britain. Is this what America's in for now? The American people are about to see cuts like we're experiencing over here?
Yeah, exactly. And for that reason, they're kind of deferring them and putting them off insofar as possible. The nuts and bolts of where those cuts are going to fall, that is arguably where the real pain is going to be. And so while this ends the immediate crisis, this Tuesday deadline that might have involved America defaulting on its debts, having its AAA credit rating removed, that could have caused chaos in global stock markets. We sit here and think, well, why would we care? But America is the world's biggest economy, and chaos in the American economy has ripples over here as well. So that immediate panic has gone away for now. But the debt hasn't gone away. The debt's still there. And how to deal with that debt, there's still some huge ideological differences between Republicans and Democrats over what to do.
James, thank you for talking to us. Our reporter, James Alexander.
Well, let's talk in more detail, because Jonathan Davis is an economist and wealth manager at Jonathan Davis Wealth Management. Morning. Thank you for joining us. Whatever you think about America, this economy is very much aligned to it. When we talk about £2 trillion raising of this debt roof, this has got to matter to us here. But why is it important for us here in the UK?
It means that our spending can continue as freewheeling as it has been. You said there a moment ago that we've got substantial cuts in the UK. Actually, if you look at the numbers, we're not cutting. It's a simple fact, and it's a myth. It's a myth that we are cutting heavily in this country. We are not cutting heavily in this country at all. Look at the numbers. So the answer to your question is, if they raise their debt ceiling over there, it means that we can carry on freewheeling spending. And that just compounds the long-term problem. That's what people aren't appreciating.
So as far as you're concerned, and maybe the people who think in the same way, what we need to have some very, very harsh lessons taught to us all, and that simply isn't happening.
Look, the global economy is basically run under the principles of Keynesian economics. John Maynard Keynes, who wrote extensively on these things in the 1930s. And what they're basically saying is, when the economy is in the doldrums, the government needs to move in and take up some of the slack. Well, that's all fine and well in the short term, but he also added a phrase, to paraphrase him, which the Keynesians don't talk about. The government must step in whilst the markets allow it. What that means is the lenders, the banks, will lend and lend and lend until the governments get to the point where the lenders say enough is enough. And that is what's happened in Ireland, in Greece, in Portugal, in Spain, in Italy. We are not talking insignificant countries here.
So when is it going to happen here? Is it going to happen here?
Sorry, so it will happen here, no doubt. It will happen here. Our tax revenue is £550 billion a year. Our spending is £700 billion a year. It will happen here, and I expect it to happen. We will go bankrupt after the next election.
Is there anything that can stop it?
You have to understand the level of debt by families, households, bad debts held by banks, the level of debt held by governments, not just in the UK but right across the world, is so huge now, there is nothing that can stop it. We have had a 30-year era of raising borrowings. We are now, and this is what your listeners need to get to grips with, we are now in an era of what they call deleveraging. In other words, reduced borrowings. That means the economy is in the mire for the next 20 years.
And just lastly, if we're talking about being bankrupt by the next general election, we will still be alive, we will still need to eat, we will still need to carry out our daily activities. But to how much are we going to notice is in this country?
Yeah, a lot. You'll see the cost of living continue to soar, and it won't be 5% inflation increases. It'll be far higher than that. You'll see wages not rising. You'll see our standards of living falling for years and years because we have been pushing the boat out for years without any restraint. We've just been increasing borrowing. To put it in the parlance, we've had 15 years of the biggest party in history, and now we're in 15 years of the biggest hangover in history.
Good to talk to you live on the programme this morning. Jonathan Davis, an economist and wealth manager of Jonathan Davis Wealth Management. And doesn't sound good, does it?
It hardly makes me want to get out of bed tomorrow morning. How depressing was that? Does that worry you? Your thoughts? 81333. Start your text 3CR.
Heads, hearts and bucks.